Being a football fan is a rollercoaster ride of emotions, but we wouldn't have it any other way. There's nothing like it. Sky Bet is not for everyone. It's for the fans. 18 plus, T's and C's apply. GambleAware.org. Let's go on to Spurs versus Man City. Ultimately, a really, really poor performance from the Man City perspective. Being at home to Tottenham, coming off the Wolves win, huge win last week.
This bothers me.
3 or 4 players have dipped in form, and there's been a couple of injuries as well.
This bothers me. Oh, well, the Man City were poor. That's why, Spurs won. We made you play poorly.
Yeah, of course. I'm not subtracting from what you did, and we'll talk about you in a minute. I'm just saying, though, that
people are doing that, and
I
they
was
do that.
Gassing City up last week. Reinders had a poor game. That's also your fault as well. You've had an impact on Reinders, but Reinders, he had a great opportunity to shoot. I think it was about 35 minutes in. Cherky had a horror of a performance. Yeah. Haaland not really involved. Nuri injured. The keeper, that's an unforced error. It's a good press from Thomas Frank, of course. But
you've got to worry about him, and you, Trafford.
Yeah, it's worrying. It is worrying.
It is. I mean, I think Donnarumma would probably be the right thing to happen for Man City now, because the option is you've got Ederson, who probably wants a new challenge, is what you said.
Yeah,
he's probably going to Galatasaray, so you need a replacement regardless. But Trafford looks out. He looked terrified, and
he did, didn't he? It's a strange one because you're at home. It's not if it's the Manchester derby, if it's Anfield away, if it's the Bernabeu, and Tottenham are a fantastic side. You're not an elite side. You're a Champions League side. You're not a top,
and there's no real
side.
There's no rivalry, like you said. There isn't like this sort of. There's not. It's not like a Manchester game against Man City or a Liverpool in recent years, or Man United, where he should be under nervous and pressure.
Exactly. If you're nervous at home against Spurs, with all due respect, basically you're playing a top level Champions League side at home without the intensity of it being a real rivalry, a real derby.
It should be fine.
By the way, your goal that you scored from his back pass. He was 5 yards wide of the pass. He was making the player. He didn't even make his feet. Yeah. It was a terrible effort in terms of his passing out from the back. Then you actually look at it. Ortega is a better keeper right now than James Trafford. And Ederson's a better keeper. So what? You just keep playing Ederson until he leaves. How's Ederson on the bench?
I don't know.
It's surreal.
When this is the decision, that's the decision that Guardiola's made. I mean, I guess if he's not playing ball, you've seen it with other players. You just think Cancelo was the best fullback in the league when he was at yours, and he was bummed out because something wasn't right. Yeah. So maybe something has happened between Guardiola and Ederson, and that relationship is at the end. I don't know, but whatever it is, you've got to fix that problem, because James Trafford was the best goalkeeper in the Championship, playing a really solid defensive unit with Burnley.
Yeah.
And then he's been dropped into a different environment altogether, a different level of expectation, but crucially a different way of playing.
Yeah.
And you cannot pick him again. Not. I mean, if he has one more horror show like that, you could break the kid. So
you could break the kid, and it could end the City season. Because when Bravo came in Guardiola's first season, within 3 or 4 weeks, it was season over. You couldn't amass a points total to win the Premier League title. And of course, Chelsea went on to win it that season because they had a fantastic keeper in that season. I think it was Courtois. So it's a strange one. I think Donnarumma, bring him in. The issue with Donnarumma is 250 grand a week, 30 million quid, another load of money, and he can't play out with his feet. And that's why he's leaving PSG.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Yeah, I think when you're looking at Donnarumma and you're thinking about last season, that he had a massive role in PSG winning that, right? Without him, they wouldn't have won it. They would have been beaten by Aston Villa. But there are limitations in his game, and it seems a bit of an odd fit between him and Guardiola. And I just wonder if the playing out for the back thing has had its day to some degree. I think people are figuring it out.
Yeah, the press is getting higher and higher, isn't it?
Yeah, and Spurs, which was much more comfortable when I was watching it, given the fact that Postecoglou, was almost dogmatic in his approach of playing out from the back, regardless, trust yourself. If it goes wrong, I'll take the blame. He did, he got sacked. It kept going wrong. The difference between what we're seeing now is sometimes we'll go long, sometimes if the passing is an option, Frank will utilise that. So it's much more comfortable watching Tottenham than it has been in 5 years.
We saw that in the first goal, because ultimately that long diagonal ball that wasn't even played out to Kudus, it was actually played out to Sarr, who made that long run, didn't he, at multiple times. Flick. That was very similar to what Ivan Toney was doing for Brentford under Thomas Frank a couple of years ago. One of the only sides to beat City in the treble-winning campaign a few years ago. And that was this long ball, and Tony would flick it onto Rico Henry and players like that and get that kind of second man running. How impressed were you with Spurs being direct, being physical, Richarlison, Paulinho? I mean, there were about 6 or 7 outstanding players.
Very impressed is the answer. I mean, and satisfied as well. Like I say, it's early days, but we kind of there's a couple of things that happened in pre-season. You're thinking, I see what he's trying to do. I'm curious about how this will pan out in the Premier League. So we beat Arsenal in pre-season. playing very defensive and counter-attacking. And then we had a couple of really drab performances. And then we had that PSG game in the Super Cup. And what we thought we were going to see is a low block counter transitional side. But what we actually saw was a high-pressured, aggressive side that tried to nullify everything that PSG were doing. I mean, oh, he's got more tricks up his sleeve. This isn't going to be a basic defensive outfit, especially when you're playing 5 at the back. And we saw that same thing. We thought we were going to see five at the back at the Etihad at the weekend. We didn't. We saw 4-2-3-1, and players performing at a level that we haven't seen before, like Richarlison. Like, I don't think you could speak to a Spurs fan and find one that wanted him to stay at the football club this summer.
Really?
Yeah,
that's interesting.
It was rubbish, Buvey.
Yeah, his goal scoring wasn't great, was it? But he always looked like a handful, even at Everton and Watford. He
wasn't fit. He kept getting hamstring injuries, and those parts. Well, he had one significant hamstring injury. He had a hip problem, and this had been going on since Conte signed. We were signed when Conte was there, I think it was. So, I think seeing a resurgence in players like that is going to be massive, because we have issues off the pitch in terms of how we operate in the transfer market, which means we can't compete or choose not to compete with who we would consider our rivals. So it seems that Daniel Levy is banking on Frank getting more out of these players than other managers have been able to, and he has a track record of doing it. You know, Justin Cochran, who's his number 2 and attacking coach, and then you've got Frank, who's had a great example of him improving attacking players in Bremo and Visser, and Sharda was good last season. You know, he needs to do that at Tottenham, because there are issues off the pitch at Spurs that mean that that Frank is at a disadvantage than other managers around him.
Were you wrong to even be in the market for Eze, with the idea that he always wanted to go to Arsenal? Arsenal laid the framework for the transfer. I'm not saying you shouldn't go after big signings. You're a massive football club, of course, but Eze just looked destined for Arsenal. Are you reeling from a transfer that never really should have happened anyway?
But so according to Miguel Delaney, it became apparent after Eze signed that Arsenal had a deal in place with him on the 10th of August. So they had a deal in place. They were deciding whether or not they wanted to actually sign him. And so I'm not sure Spurs were even aware of that deal. What Arsenal did was essentially have this deal in place for him. They want him, but they're not quite ready to take him, or they can't fit him into the squad. They've got Havertz. Havertz has a bad knee injury, and immediately they go, right, bring him in. And that's how you run a football club. I hate to say it, but that is how you operate. You have a deal lined up that you don't have to activate, but it's there in place. And should something happen, like an injury, or you might decide at the end of the window that other targets weren't attainable, then activate it. Whereas Spurs just scrabbling around. We had a free run at Eze, essentially, for 10 days or a week, where Arsenal weren't going to activate that deal because Havertz wasn't injured at that point. So then we had a free run at him. We needed him because Maddison is out for the season pretty much. So you needed Eze to come in and play in that 10. But Arsenal had it sewn up, and it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
You think it's embarrassing?
It's what embarrassing losing Eze to Arsenal in that way.
I'm only asking in the sense that because it never looked like it was. It's not like losing Sol Campbell to Arsenal. It's a different scenario.
No, of course not. It's nothing like that. But I think we were all convinced Eze was coming. All of us was. I even put a podcast out before he'd signed. Saying, what does Eze bring to Tottenham? Right? And it was literally 3 hours later he'd signed for Arsenal.
Oh, no.
Shit, that was a bad one.
Did you keep it up?
No, of course not. what Arsenal fans going? So that's how convinced we was.
Yeah.
And then it didn't happen. But the embarrassment has to be carried by Spurs fans, but it's directly linked to the inability of Daniel Levy to operate in a current football transfer market.
And the issue is he didn't bid enough. He didn't bid early enough. He didn't get over the line. What is it? Did he offer? I also saw rumours of Richarlison going to Crystal Palace. Was he trying to be cheeky and throw in a Richarlison plus 20 mil kind of vibe? And that isn't the same value as what Palace thought Eze was.
It's hard to know, isn't it? Because you're working off of information online and people saying they know what's what. As far as I understand, and talking to people as really well connected in Palace, there was a deal in place with Tottenham. And it was about as done as it can possibly be done without it being done. And then there is this situation, obviously, that we didn't know about with Arsenal and what they did and how they brought him in. So we thought that it was done, but as far as I understand, Daniel Levy was arguing over the details of the bonus payments. So we'd agreed a fee, but there was like arguments about when this £1 million fee is activated after 25 games, and Palace wanted it after 10 games. It was that level of intricacy. And he pissed about for too long, and Arsenal came in and got it done. And that, unfortunately, is a hallmark of Daniel Levy through the years.
Yep.
And that's why I don't think Tottenham can ever achieve anything significant while Daniel Levy is running the football club. He is not aggressive enough. He's not ambitious enough. And there are people running Chelsea, Arsenal, Manchester City, Liverpool, Man United, who will go about, less so Man United, but those other three will go about things in a way that means that we'll always be playing second fiddle. It didn't surprise any of us that Eze wanted to go to Arsenal. They're in a good position, Champions League, consistently in the Champions League, and he's an Arsenal fan. But it's about how we operate, and football. The football business, in terms of bringing players in, has left Daniel Levy behind, in my opinion.
That's interesting. Yeah.
You've got Todd Bowley there, just going, by this player. If they built a squad that's so stacked with talent, and I'm not saying it might not be the most ethical way of going about it, using players as like cattle and trading them. But they are operating in a way that we couldn't even conceive of.
Hyper aggressive. What about Marinakis with Morgan Gibbs-White? I mean, it's a very different scenario. A very intimidating kind of interview that he gave with Morgan Gibbs-White in and around the time he signed that contract extension. But you do feel that's another player that you missed out on as well, to Nottingham Forest. I mean, he should be looking to go to Spurs in the Champions League.
You can't legislate for Marinakis going, you're not going.
No, of course, you can't legislate for that. All I'm saying is there's a player there that Spurs have identified, Thomas Frank's identified, an attacking midfielder to play alongside James Maddison, obviously before the injury. Now to replace James Maddison, Kulusevski's injured as well. You do think Thomas Frank looks a little bit frustrated. I think he needs an extra one before the window shuts because he's done some good business. Like Pauline is a fantastic deal, and Kudus is I can't believe you got Kudus over the line for such a cheap amount of money.
No, there is good business being done. It's just,
is it one more? Is it one top quality midfielder?
Well,
there'll be someone available. There will.
If you lot would just release Savinho to us, that would be.
You want Savinho?
Yeah,
you can have him. 80 mil.
Yeah,
80 mil.
Done. Let's get it sorted.
You want it?
Yeah. Tell me,
have him. Yeah.
Tell me why.
What's that? You can have it.
Listen, just on Savinho, what is the problem? Because Manchester City don't want him to leave. We've bid 70 million euros. Is that? Do you not rate him? Do you think you don't need him?
I think City want a really high price for him because it looks good in terms of PR, but I don't think there's a real urge to keep him. I think there's a slight concern with a few people in the background about what happened with Cole Palmer.
Yeah.
I think no one at City wants a Brazilian semi-wonder kid who got a load of assists last season for a really poor City side to go to Spurs and turn into the next Gareth Bale. I'm not going to say he's going to do that, but I think there's a reluctancy in that regard. But I think if the right price comes in, I think City will sell. You look at Marmoush playing on the wing against you lot. You look at Phil Foden coming on, and I'm sure he'll play in the right wing. There's just no space for Savinho.
Yeah, you got Bernardo Silva as well. You got
Doku.
That's what I'm saying. Just let us sign him then. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think 75 to 80 million is what they want, and I think that would be a little bit expensive for what he brings. I think he's a very good footballer, but I don't know if he's a world-class footballer.
How far is he? Would you consider him still raw?
He's a little bit raw. Yeah, he's a little bit raw, but he'd definitely improve you. He's definitely a Champions League level footballer that would. No, but he would. He'd definitely come in. You look at Brennan Johnson. I think Brennan Johnson's underrated, by the way, but I think he's a better footballer than Brennan Johnson.
All round, definitely more effective.
And you need someone like that in the Champions League, by the way. There's a lot of football matches in the new Champions League format.
Yeah.
Right? And you've got injuries already, major injuries.
Yeah.
I think he's better than Tell as well. I think he's better than Tell. I think he's of a higher standard than Tell. So that's my opinion. Kulusevski, different kind of player. I know he's more of a number 10 now.
Yeah.
But I think Savinho is a top quality footballer, and I think it makes a lot of sense for you to sign him. But I think you still need that midfielder, don't you? You need that extra man in midfield.
I think it's the 10. We need a man at 10, ideally Savinho as well, although I don't think it's going to happen. Like I said, Daniel Levy's just not... I have no faith in him getting anything done. And then ideally a left-sided centre-back, who in Cappy would have been perfect, and now he's joining Arsenal as well. So it's been weirdly, while we're optimistic about the football, we're optimistic about Thomas Frank, it's almost like every summer we get to the end of it and we're missing players.
Yeah, frustrating.
It isn't complete, this squad, and you've had 2.5 months to do something about it.
Yeah.
And all we've seen is you really genuinely miss out on target. I've never been so frustrated with Daniel Levy in my entire life. I've spent the last 10 years going, he is a great chairman. Look at the stadium. Look at If I hear him mention the fact that we crushed up the old stadium and put it into the floor of the new stadium one more time, I will scream, Buvey. Everyone's been in the stadium hundreds of times. It's great. Well done.
Beautiful stadium.
Sign the players we need so we can compete.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's beautiful. I don't want to hear another person tell me how much they like going to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Do you have a good time, did you? A nice food, isn't it?
A few years
You've
now.
seen the pints that go for it. Who cares?
The cheese room.
There is no cheese room. That's
I've been
bullshit. There's no cheese room.
I've been go-karting there. Have you been go-karting yet?
No. What, you've been go-karting?
Under the pitch.
I know. This is the thing.
I went with Crouchy and David Bentley a few months back.
Did you really?
On my life. Yeah.
What?
And Wayne Bridge.
What was that for?
Just for a brand. But it was amazing.
Buvey Bridge. Who else?
Crouchy.
Crouchy.
Carlton Cole.
Wow.
David Bentley.
Mate, that's
Under
the
the
people you're
Spurs
mixing
pitch.
with now.
What
was it like? Was it good?
Yeah, I came second last. I beat Carlton Cole.
Good.
What can I say?
You had a good time?
Oh,
everyone had great fun. Brilliant. All right. So at least you got that.
I'm seeing there's a gallery as well, an art gallery. We've got the Tate Modern in the stadium as well.
The gallery. Right, let me just correct you here. Right, the gallery. So there's no cheese room. There is a brewery. The gallery is outside the stadium. It's in the Spurs shop.
Yeah,
and it was a.
Okay.
Is that okay?
That's the producer. I've not written that. I can't.
The producer's an Arsenal fan.
Makes
so
sense.
It doesn't matter what he types on there. I'm not listening to it.
Yeah, I have to say though, 5 goals scored, 0 conceded, looking good. Kudu's fantastic, but you're right. If anything happens to Kudus, anything happens to Paulinho, anything happens again in terms of any of the other midfielders, it's going to be a long old season for Tottenham potentially. But it started really, really well.